Yay, I'm here. Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Mark.
Hello.
Sorry about that.
Hey,
Okay.
just to let everyone know we are on YouTube live now. So
So let me get to
just let everyone know we are on YouTube live.
the agenda real quick. Okay. Okay. Thanks. Thanks everyone for hanging in there. So I will officially start the administrative adjustment hearing as of 3:05 p.m. And with that, just a statement of authority pursuant to zoning Maryland Code Land Use Article, Division 1, Single Jurisdiction. And of course, the zoning ordinance, section 164, 158, 1A1, the planning director is authorized to grant administrative adjustments for the following requirements contained in this chapter, the zoning ordinance. That's local height requirements, setback requirements, bulk requirements, parking requirements, loading dimensional and area requirements, or similar local requirements. The director may grant administrative adjustment in cases where the strict compliance with the requirements of this chapter would result in practical difficulty or unreasonable hardship, which has not been caused by the applicant. Who will be speaking today for the applicant?
I'm happy to jump in
Christina?
as needed.
So let me just swear everybody in. If you're going to be speaking, I just need you to be also on video and to swear in. So Christina, I think maybe Christine, I'm sorry, you're the only one doing that. Okay, with that, do you swear that the evidence you shall give in this administrative adjustment case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Let's move to the first and only case on the meeting today. And Joe, you want to start off?
Sure, thank you. Joe Atkins with the Westminster Planning Department. The application was submitted back in June 7th, 2024. It was for administrative adjustment to allow a sign over the 125 square feet. The property is approximately 7.7 acres. It contains 2 commercial buildings. The center has 26,700 square feet, and Sprouts comprises approximately 17,800 square feet, or 48.5% of the square footage for the retail shopping center. Under section 2 of the staff memo, it gives the authority. 2 and 3 gives the notice and authority. Skipping to the more prevalent sections, down in section 5, the applicant is asking for a sign larger than 125 square feet, which is permitted by the zoning ordinance, for the Sprouts grocery store. In evaluating the administrative adjustment, the director may consider the following factors. The first one, exceptional circumstances or conditions applying to the property in question or the intended use of the property that does not apply generally to other properties in the same zone. The staff's response to this is that staff.
Hey, Joe, if I could, can you just mention the 3 elements, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Salvo to go over those, and then I'll have Joe come back and give a response to the testimony provided by Mr. Salvo.
Yeah, yes, sir. So the first one I mentioned about extraordinary circumstances or conditions applying to the property. The second one is the administrative adjustment is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of substantial property rights possessed by other properties in the same zone or in the same vicinity. And the last one, number 3, the authorization of such variance administrative adjustment will not be of determinant to adjacent properties and will not materially impair the purpose of this chapter or the public interest.
With that, if this elements and provide testimony how you believe you feel that this request falls under the administrative adjustment regulations.
Sorry, I think you cut out for a second. Are you addressing me?
Yes,
Let
if you provided applicant responses to the three elements that authorize administrative adjustment, I was just hoping you can go through each one individually, addressing those, and then Joe, following your response, will have a rebuttal to which you state. Then after that, you certainly can then rebut what Mr. Atkins states.
Sure. Okay. So to begin, we based our request on the fact that there are similar zones that do permit a bigger sign within the city of Westminster, namely the PRSC zone. And a couple of points to make about why we feel that this is an extraordinary request deserving of the administrative adjustment is due to the nature of Sprouts as the anchor tenant. In the shopping center, it occupies a large percentage of the shopping center, as Joe referred to, and also having a very strong anchor tenant is crucial to the overall functioning of the shopping center. And in order for the anchor to be strong, using its prototypical signage is key to bringing in customers and to brand recognition and making sure that that particular tenant has all of the advantages of other surrounding tenants in other shopping centers that have that same sort of prototypical signage that's used throughout, the nation. And secondly, that portion of the shopping center as well deals with a little bit of a grade issue where the shopping center sits down lower and our pylon sign is actually sitting at the bottom of the grade change, which kind of impacts visibility a bit. So again, having that, that prototypical Sprouts signage on the front of the building helps with visibility, helps with cars coming by, safety. People, might not see the pylon as well. They can see the sign on the front of the building, and that helps direct them into the right area to visit the shopping center. That is the first point. The second point was that it's necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of rights possessed by other properties. And again, there are a lot of national, regional tenants in the surrounding areas that do benefit from having those large prototypical signs. Those tenants that are serving the anchor function for the shopping center really help bring in the customers. And if Sprouts and Westminster Station were not able to have their prototypical signage, then it would be detrimental to both the tenant and to the shopping center as a whole. And they'd be fighting with other types of supermarkets that have their standard signage. Allowing Sprouts to have their prototypical sign enables them to capitalize on that sort of brand recognition, and that puts them on an even playing field with other similar tenants in the area. And whether or not it will be a detriment to adjacent properties, nobody will be adversely affected by the granting of this administrative adjustment. If anything, it makes the project stronger, it makes the tenant stronger, which brings in other tenants and other stronger tenants, which again, a successful shopping center really only benefits a community, and it brings in more people, especially Sprouts, which is a sort of a specialty, with unique offerings. They're going to bring in they're going to bring in customers from surrounding areas and help bring more people to the city.
Thank you. Joe, do you have any
Yes, sir.
response?
Sure. As mentioned before, Sprouts is taking up approximately 48% of the total shopping area or the total square footage for the shopping center. The Westminster Station Shopping Center is a regional shopping center, in our opinion, and it's comparable to what's allowed in the planned regional shopping center zone for an anchor department store, which allows one sign from 150 to 200 square feet, depending on the size of the store. The front facade of the Sprouts store sits approximately 155 feet from the right of way. And as the applicant mentioned, it does sit substantially lower than the grade of the road. The other things that are important is that the sign box, what the city of Westminster considers the sign, is 197 square feet. The square footage of the box letters inside the sign box is approximately 144 square feet. So there was that to take into consideration as well. The proposed sign is a flat wall sign positioned over the entrance to Sprouts and meets all the requirements of Article 17, Section 164.19 of the sign regulations. I think it's important to note also that this is not a variance where Sprouts is asking for additional signage to what they're permitted. This sign is just, they're asking for a bigger sign. So they're well within their total allotted square footage for signage.
Thank you. Mr. Salvo, any response or anything additional?
I don't have anything additional, I think. I think he covered it well.
Thanks, Tim. So anybody else want to have anything to say? I'm guessing not. Well, with that, I will accept the staff report, findings, and conclusion of law. I do agree that this application meets the intent of administrative adjustment. It's asking for what other districts allow. I think a very important element, as Joe mentioned, was that the request isn't extended beyond the allowable square footage for this building, for this facade, which would be a variance and not, I don't believe, would be an administrative adjustment request. This strictly goes to a design functionality of the ordinance that allows a single sign to be a certain size in a certain district, but doesn't allow for that same allowance for other strip centers or anchor buildings like the Sprouts. So I think this is what the administrative adjustment is intended to do. I also want to point out, I think, just look at the site as you're coming off the ramp, entering on the 140, and I just thought about this the other day. And the oddity of the 140 area as it is, that pushes people to the left to make the left-hand turn to get into the mall, all coinciding with the ramp of 140 to get onto 140. Having the sign there larger also helps people direct them to the right and stay to the right to access the center. Again, that's a very difficult area if you're pulling onto 140, if anybody's experienced that. So I think that's another benefit of having a more anchor sign present that then directs people to the site. And I do believe that anchor tenant, as Mr. Salvo mentioned, is important, that advertises the center as a whole. And that's what anchors do. That's a primary advertising entity. That's the primary entity that draws people to the center. So I think that's beneficial as well. So with that, I'm going to approve the administrative adjustment for Sprouts. It will be specifically for Sprouts. If Sprouts was to move, another tenant wants to move in, we look at this element again. Obviously, maybe the box doesn't need to be as big, and maybe it doesn't fall into the need for an administrative adjustment. So this is specific to the use and specific to the center. And I have nothing else. If anybody has any comments or questions with that. Then that's it. Then the administrative adjustment is approved. We will have a decision for you stating this, and it will go on record with the actual site plan as well. That's completed. And then we can move on with the sign permit applications as well. And with that, I'll close the meeting at 3:20 p.m. And thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
All
Thank
right,
you.
take care.
Bye.
Bye.